So on my hunt for my next car, due in September, I thought we'd book some test drives in. The first one was really easy to test drive. Just go on an app, book in a time, and I'm going to turn up and apparently use my phone to unlock the car. Nice and easy. No haggling with salespeople, no pitter-patter, just do I like the car before I even get into anything else. And the car in question is the obvious choice a couple of years ago for an EV. But I want to know, is it still the obvious choice now? And being an EV owner for the last 2 years and also driving a few others, I'm yet to drive one of these yet. You could probably guess what it is, and you're right, it's a Tesla. So I'm going to see what it's like. It's a nice prolonged test drive for 1 hour. And what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to do that in-camera review. I'm going to get in it first, drive it around, and then come back and give you an update. What I'm really looking for is, I'm expecting the performance. Everyone talks about performance. What I really want to know is it comfortable? The seat's good? Could I be in a 2-hour drive with this car? Does it make me want to drive the car? Because one of my current cars just don't want to drive it. Nothing wrong with it, but just really boring. And what's the sound system like? What's it like to actually, live with? Yes, I've only got it for an hour, but that's the kind of questions that I'm looking for. Performance and specs, we all know what they are. Just want to kind of go, and it's an amazing day for a test drive. We're here in Rutland, so there's some beautiful roads, beautiful countryside. So no excuses. It's all on the car now. So I've got about 25 minutes to wait. Just going to probably grab one more coffee, do some research to make sure I've got all the app and everything ready, and then I will update you in a minute with how did it go. So test drive complete, and great car, absolutely great car. Spoiler alert, great car. Of course the power was good, expecting the power to be good. But what I was surprised by is how good the technology works. Everything from pressing a button and saying, hey, put so-and-so radio station on. Radio station comes on. The display is lit up and it's on the correct station and gives me other options I can easily click. Navigation, I ask it to go to Barnsdale. Bang. Instantly, it's there on a nice clear map, preloaded, ready to rock and roll. I didn't know if it had ventilated seats, so I pressed a button. I said, turn on ventilated seats, because it's a very warm day in the UK today. The ventilated seats come on. And I'm driving around and I'm like, it feels like genuinely a good car to drive. It felt sporty. The steering was nice. And I took it down B roads, I took it down single tracks, took it on the motorway as well. And at each stage, it's a really pleasant drive. Was it a little bit jittery because of like kind of the sportiness of it? A little bit. But the payoff for that was it handled really well and it felt a bit sporty. So it wasn't like it was jiggity and not sporty. It was, it's a bit firm, the suspension, and no doubt the low profile tyres don't help, but the payoff was fine because it was sporty, it was fun to drive. You wanted to put your foot down, you wanted to go around the corners that little bit faster. The insulation was adequate. I wouldn't say it's the quiet in the class, but the stereo worked, and it was a really good stereo, so you turn the volume up, but then you don't hear the outside. It was really good. The fact it's only got one display, but speed's in the top right corner, you can clearly see it. After literally 20 seconds, you get used to it. You can easily see how fast you're going. Yes, you could probably get heads-up displays and everything else, but it was just good. And the visibility on the Model Y is extraordinary. Clearly see where everything is, and I wasn't really expecting that too much, but it was just easy to place, easy to drive, and I imagine really easy to live with. And obviously having an electric car for 2 years, I know that there's more Tesla infrastructure than anything else, so you can use both, so it's doubled up. So anyone that's, and I'm going to say this to my friend that's currently looking at a new electric car, and he does hundreds and hundreds of miles a week, I'm going to recommend the Tesla. The tech, the way it drives, obviously the infrastructure behind it, it was just surprisingly well put together. And it might be because I'm coming out of a Jaecoo, it might be because my electric car is a little Fiat, but you just put it all together and it was really nice. The guy that was in the test drive before me, he just came out of a BMW iX, so he's got like £100,000 car, and he said, okay, it wasn't as smooth, but he went, it's half the price and it's 90% similar, and he goes, he found that the technology just worked better, the identification of where everything is. And we talk about all this Euro stuff that's coming in. So you're driving down a little country road. Yes, the cameras think you're a little bit too near to the side. And unlike other cars that just start trying to like fight you, it just beep, beep, beep. Display comes up, you're too close to the left-hand side. That's it. You can live with that. So yeah, all the warnings and everything else, and there was a few warnings that went on because it's a test drive, unaided. Nothing scary. Nothing scary at all. Didn't try and kill me, which sounds peculiar, but you're in any modern Chinese cars and you go for a test drive down country lanes and just see if the car tries to kill you or not. That's a topic for another conversation. You can look at my Jaecoo review if you want to. So all in all, it was fantastic. And then I got into the back. There's a little display, and you can play games on the display, and you can watch YouTube videos on the display. And I'm like, my daughter will love that. And it's got a huge boot, and it has a frunk. And I'm thinking, do I want this car? And I'm thinking, I do really want this car, but I don't want it to be my car because I'm a car guy and I want a noisy car. And I'm thinking, right, I know what I need to do now. I need to get a deal done with a Tesla and get my wife's car rid of, because I think as a family car, as a school run car, we got to go up and down the motorway and haul a load of stuff around, I think it ticks all the boxes. And even the cheap one, you know, with the 315 mile range, so let's call it 290, 280, you go, well, if we've got the family in the car, 280 miles, and I live in the Midlands, so literally 280 miles can get me to any part of England in one hit. That's more than enough, and then we can stop off, and within 20 minutes you're back to 80% charge again, so I think that's enough charge. And like I said, it just drove really well. The only flaw I could say is it felt a little bit like one pedal every now and then, where if you take your foot off the accelerator, it started decelerating a little bit harsher. And I'm sure there's somewhere in the infotainment where you can adjust that. So that's not a concern at all. But the fit and finish seemed well. There was no little funky noises going on. And thinking, this is a car that's obviously driven by people unaided constantly. So if any car's going to get ragged, it's a trial car that no one's, the salesperson's not sat next to you in, and everything just went well. Like I said, the sat navigation, how you talk to it, everything just seemed to work really well, which I suppose it should. I mean, they've been making electric cars now for probably over a decade, so maybe there is something to be said about Tesla still being the market leader. You know, I'm not going to get into any topics about who's running the business and everything else, but from a car perspective, from a electric car to get you from A to B with a bit of a smile on your face, but also just not have to worry about things, just get in, drive, and it works. And everything seemed to have worked really, really well. I gotta admit, it's for an electric car at £300 a month, subject to a massive deposit, so I'm sure there's something that could be done on that. That's maybe £6,000 down for £300 a month. I'm sure there's better terms out there, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. And of course, salary sacrifice cars, there's probably even a better deal to be done as well. So would I recommend a Y? Yes. How would I compare it to the BYD? Well, test drove a BYD, admittedly a shorter term, and the radio wasn't working. I couldn't even figure out how to get the radio working because it wasn't. I just couldn't figure out how to basically the displays work. The guy that was with me from BYD, he could get it working, but again, it wasn't easy. And then from that, the fact the DAB wasn't working, and then we're driving, and that car just didn't fill me with the same confidence that a Tesla does, that I could just get in and just shoot off and off I go. The BYD was a little bit like my Jaecoo. There's a little bit, you could just round the ends, you can tell they've probably not been building European cars or cars for the European market for as long. You could tell there's the ergonomics just weren't quite there. The BYD probably looks a bit posher inside, and admittedly the Tesla is more spacious. But if you want visibility and just an easy car to live with, which I think I do, it's a Tesla over the BYDs. So probably going to book my wife in for a test drive, find out how much it's going to cost to get out of her PCP on the Jaecoo and switch that over. And then I've got to find myself my own car, because this is still going back in September. But if we switch her car over, then means I don't need an electric car. And I have been looking at some other toys. So, got any comments, any feedback? What's your thoughts of the Tesla cars? Let's just try and keep it to the cars. You know, good, the bad. Have you had Tesla cars? Did you find that they were just easy to live with? Have you compared a Tesla to a BYD? Are you kind of looking for an electric car? And, you know, have you kind of thought, actually, maybe they've been left behind because they've got the same model numbers, and maybe they haven't come on as much as other cars, because other cars are coming out and changing their model numbers and names all the time, where Tesla's always called, it's the Model 3, it's the Model Y, and they've kept the same name. But it feels like they've done lots and lots of updates, and the fit and finish and everything else seems to be like 10 years ago, maybe that was an issue, but now, no. I would quite comfortably buy that Tesla and just know that I've got a solid car that's just going to get me from A to B. So, thanks again for listening, and I will catch up with you all soon. Take care.